Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, a mini version of the PME today. Normally the live chat is on Wednesdays. I've been putting that aside for football. A football show came out earlier today. Please go watch that. And if you haven't downloaded it yet on your audio podcast, please go download it. If you don't give a shit about fantasy football, just download it, then delete it. I just want the download. You can listen all you want. I think it's a good show. Brad Evans, Jeff Radcliffe, newly launched FadeTheNoise.com. And they gave us a promo code for an even bigger discount on top of the discount that they're already giving. So promo code Mayo if you want to go check that out. But hey, this is a golf show. We're going to be talking about bets, DraftKings, and the weather very briefly to walk you through what I'm up to this week after I finalized everything now too. 20% off at fantasynational.com if you use the code Mayo, or just put in fantasynational.com/Mayo. That's where I'll be getting a lot of my ownership number from. When I do the Sunday show, the walkthrough, I'm using Fantasy National that entire time. So I highly recommend the site. I think you should try it out too. There's a weekly version of it. So if you use the code, it's like $8. You can get a trial run for your $8 and see if you like it or not. Like I said, highly recommend it. Later on this week, Thursday, there is a millionaire maker on DraftKings for UFC. Paul and Cody are going to have the picks and bets for that. I'm actually in the final for UFC starting this week. It's a 3-week final, so I'm going to be paying super close attention. I'm actually going to be producing the show and chiming in the background if you want to check that out. And then Friday and Saturday, I'm expecting football. And then Sunday, we're back to the regular rotation. It's like going to be like Groundhog Day. We're back at Muirfield Village next week, so I'll be doing the First Look show again for the same course. New field, mind you. Hopefully Tiger is in attendance, and then rinse and repeat for next week. Hopefully we can get the live chat back if Tiger is playing, maybe even a cut sweat. Who knows? I'll keep you tuned next week. Just remember, check out the feed, download the shows. That really does help, along with the ratings and reviews. Smash the like while you're at it too, and tell me who your best fade is from the top. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to play Bud Colley this week, although I am playing Bud Colley this week. But if you're like, Justin Thomas, fuck no. That's what I want to hear in the comment section after you hit that like button, all right? Betting card for the week. I'm going with Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, and Joaquin Niemann. 25, 33, 45 to 1. No each ways on those, just straight up winners. I was really digging Niemann and Hovland, and I was waiting for a better number on Rose and a better number on Justin Thomas. In fact, they got worse as the week went along. So I actually like Rose and like Thomas a lot. Don't like their odds. The best I could find on Rose is 22 to 1. I saw some people say they found a 28 out there. I'd endorse that. That's a good number. So for me, it came down to a collection of those upper 20s, mid 30s guys. So it was Ricky, Reed, Morikawa, and someone else. I think it was Im, because he's in at 40 to 1 right now. I decided on Morikawa because I'm already going Niemann. I'm already going Hovland. So Team Young Bucks, let's go. From the challenge all the way to Muirfield Village this week. Go with the young guys. I always like this as a breakout spot for people. It could be Xander, for all we know. But he's down at 18 to 1. I just like the odds on these guys a little bit better. But as you can see, I'm afraid of Justin Thomas at the top. I'm afraid of a lot of the big names here. So just 3 plays for me this week. Not a huge investment. I played a lot of props, some parlays, some Euro, some fun. But those are the 3 main plays that I'm doing. I usually have like 4 or 5 like main plays that I want to bet on. This week, it's only 3. Like sometimes you look at the board and say, you know what? I'm not just going to bet on people for the sake of betting on people. At least this is the restraint I'm trying to show with this. So those are going to be my 3. My long shot this week is going to be Shane Lowry. I wanted to play the each way on him, so I took him at 90 to 1. So half and half, 90 to 1, and then a top 5 finish for 1/4 of those odds. So what is that, 22.5 to 1, 20 to 1, whatever it is. Not great at math over here. So Shane Lowry, 90 to 1. You can find him at 100 in some places if you don't care about the top 5. I do. FOMO, of course, see, woo! Kim, and the YOLO play of the week, Bo Hogg. His grandfather helped design the course. He is an Ohio guy, very familiar with the layout. We'll see if it works for him. 600 to 1 on the each way with him. Top 10 plays, I'm going with Niemann and Hadwin, 4 to 1 and 4.5 to 1. I like Hadwin a lot this week. I don't know if he can win. He could, but I just don't like his odds. Like 50 to 1 for Adam Hadwin in this field. It seems a bit dicey. Not going to lie to you, but 4.5 to 1. This guy can come inside the top 10. I like Adam Hadwin here. Top 20 plays for the week. Bo Hogg, 12 to 1. I already mentioned him. Brandon. Woo! He's coming in at plus 650. And the Swaffer, Hudson Swaffer, kind of digging Hudson Swaffer this week, 7-1 on his top 20. I played that. The two props, I went with Charles Schwartzel, plus 320 to be the low South African in the field. Has played really well at Ohio courses in his career. And the only other two guys he has to beat, one is Louis, who is either going to contend or being like dead last. So it's a 50-50 proposition with him, and I'm getting plus 320. And the other one is Fratelli, who I'm scared of, but he's coming off a COVID break. I don't know how healthy he is right now. And again, he is an ultra inconsistent player. This is not to say that Charles is good by any means, but he has been hitting his irons and putting a lot better than normal. I hear a few times his putter gets hot at this place called Augusta. I know the greens aren't going to run as smoothly and quickly as normal at Muirfield Village, but the greens tend to be pretty fast like they are there as well. So we'll see if Charles can keep up the good irons and actually make a few putts this week. Top Asian, Sung Yul No, 18-1 this week. If it does play hard and the rough and the up and down game does mean a lot, he's been playing better for starters, ball striking, but an immaculate around the green game. I like Sung Yul No. I think it's worth a shot at 18-1. First round leaders with the each way to the top 5. Keegan Bradley, 90-1. Stanley and Duffner, 100-1. Swaffer, woo! And Hollywood Hoagie and Charles, 125-1. Then two bombs, Bohog, Cam Percy, 250-1 to be first round leader. Hell, if one of those guys comes inside the top 5, we're still dancing and coming out a winner this week. One and done, I'm using Neiman, Jeff's using Hovland, and the Cust, who's winning our one and done, is going back to Patrick Cantlay. He picked Patrick Cantlay last year at Memorial. Cantlay won. That's his guy here. On the Euro Tour, I'm going with Arnes at 14-1 over in Austria. I just looked at the names like Juice Lutner. The Juice Lutner. He's got those sick Jerry curls, but him is like a 6-1 favorite. It's not doing it for me. I don't really know much about the course, but I'm getting some DGen action in. I want to wake up early on like Thursday morning, and before I start sweating my PGA lines, I want to see if I'm dead on Euro yet or not. So him and everyone else is betting this Rosner guy. I got him at 40-1, so I'm in. I saw Coley tip him, and a bunch of the other Euro guys who do excellent Euro work. They've tipped him as well. So it'd be a community win. I just want to kind of piggyback up on that. 40-1 seems like a good price. These are not the same sort of like level as my PGA bets, which I actually do research. But hey, maybe a lack of research and just good intuition is what I need over on the European Tour. So those are my two plays. Brad and Jeff's Fade the Noise site. They do all sports. And I did want to give a special shout out to Drew Matthews and the squad over at fantasygolfbag.com. They shut down Golf Bag and they reemerged on Fade the Noise. I saw that the other day. I'm going to have Drew on next week because that's a huge accomplishment. Drew, who you may remember, ended up winning the Millionaire Maker a few years ago and then got into the DFS space as a content creator, and he's really, really good. I'd highly recommend you go check him out. But one thing that his team does really well is actually Euro DraftKings and Euro betting along with the PGA stuff, and that promo code Mayo actually gets you a discount on all of their packages regardless of sport. So if you want to go check out some cool Euro stuff, I'd recommend Drew and the gang. I believe it's FTN Bag Golf Bag. Not quite sure what the actual like official URL is, but if you guys like type in Fade the Noise Drew Matthews, follow Drew on Twitter. He'll talk about it next week when he's on the show breaking down DraftKings. But that code Mayo will get you an extra discount on top of the discount. I played some doubles for laughs, Hovland and Thomas, plus my two Euro guys, Arnes and Rosner. That pays huge odds. I wanted to get something with Justin Thomas on it, just because I didn't love the odds of him down to 10-1. But I do think that he has a very good chance of winning. My most owned guy on DraftKings this week. And I played a to make and miss the cut parlay. 6 players. It pays 26-1. It's Woodland to miss the cut, Horschel to miss the cut. Guy can't hit an iron right now. It's problematic. Woodland can't drive, Horschel can't hit iron. So those two to miss the cut. Connors, Neiman, Hovland, Joel Damon to make the cut. Those 6 together pays 26-1. Hopefully that ends up coming through. So like I said, I'm not going big on the actual outrights this week. I found some props I like, some parlays I like. It's not a huge investment week, bigger than last week. Nothing near each of the first 3 weeks when I was trying to play a lot of the board and we were having a lot of success. Sometimes you look at the board and just say, not for me this week. In terms of DraftKings, and we talk about the ownership this week, from the top, it does appear like Cantlay, Hovland, Rose, and Hideki are going to be your big 4, probably over 20% in the Millionaire Maker. I mean, once you get into the higher entry contest, like if it's a single entry, you're going to see even more concentrated chalk up at the top. And that's okay. Like, out of those, I actually ended up playing, and when we get to the weather, a PM AM stack of teams. Those are I used Cantley in those because he's playing in the PM and then coming out in the AM in the next day. But in my overall build, I usually play 20 lineups. I played 25 this week just to make 5 that were the PM AM, and then I ran it back the rest of the way. Cantley is not in those lineups. He's only in the stacks. But I do like his chances. He's the highest owned guy. Apparently everyone does. But I feel like if I stick him together with all the PM AM guys, I can get away with some of that chalk. I'm using Hovland and Rose in my lineups. When we look at the overall ownership of the 10K guys right now, it does appear like Brooks or Rom is going to be the lowest owned. And we're not talking like 5% here. They're probably all going to be double digits. Maybe someone slips to like 7, 8%. Not quite sure which one it's going to be. But those two seem to be the ones that people are a bit pensive about. Rick picked Brooks to win. So if Brooks wins, I bet you Rick's going to have a pretty good week on DraftKings. In the 9K, Hovland and Rose are the big two, and then the other two, Ricky and Morikawa, are still double digits, but in the low teens when it comes down to it. In the 8K level, it doesn't appear like a ton of people are going to Spieth or Matt Kuchar or Matthew Wolff or Matthew Fitzpatrick. Those would be the pivot plays. I'm actually not going to any of them. I'm just going to use Sung Jae, who is coming in at lower ownership as well, Neiman and Hadwin. In the 7Ks, I'm going to use a pinch of Jason Day, who I have projected at like 2%. Call me an idiot. I get that a lot, and it's going to turn out to be a really terrible move. I know it is, but if he can just make some putts, he can make birdies and bunches. And maybe almost like Louis. It's funny, Louis and Day, I have like almost no ownership this week. And this always happens after one of the troika of guys who love withdrawing with injuries ends up withdrawing. So Kevin Na is a part of that. Obviously, he withdrew last week. And it's like his withdraw stink is now going on to Louis and Day because so many people use Na, and now they're super scared. You need, like, put it this way, across 25 lineups, I have Day in 3. So he might sink 3 of them with a withdraw or just being terrible like he's been. But this is a situation where I think that I don't even know if he's a good player or not. I just want to take a chance, all right? And I want to go with Jason Day on that. My favorite plays in that level, actually the highest owned guys right now, it does appear Streelman, Damon, Varner, McNeely, Russell Henley, Bud Cauley. I bet you Cauley and Henley are more, like I'm looking on fantasynational.com right now, /Mayo for your 20% off. One of the big things you need to understand about ownership on Fantasy National versus actually projecting out ownership is people who use Fantasy National are clearly paying attention. They're researching stats. They're using tools. So some players, especially like sleepers, once you get down to like the 6K level or the 7K level, if they are lesser known names to the public, like a Russell Henley or a Bud Cauley, or when we get to like Norlander in the mid $6,000 range, they're always going to seem like they're more used by the Fantasy National projections on ownership, simply because the stats are bearing out that these are good plays this week. And the general public isn't aware of that, so their ownership will probably come in lower than it's actually being projected out right now. That's usually what I go with. Sometimes that's wrong, but by and large, the rule of thumb is that's what you should go with on this. In the 6K level, no one is actually pressing 10%. It does look like Brandon Wu and Norlander, two guys that I like. I'm actually not using Norlander this week. I'm using Swafford and Brandon Wu, and I'm going to use a little pinch of Schwartzel, almost like Day, and I'm going to take a shot on Bo Hogg. Chase Koepka, I bet, ends up with ownership because he's Brooks' brother. In terms of weather, I went to windfinder.com, and I'm using the Ohio State Airport for the wind tower that I'm using. So when I said that the Thursday, there seems to be like no change from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's going to be like a max 6 miles per hour wind all day long. It's going to be spicier in the afternoon, a little bit hotter, but it's going to be like 86 all day. So it's going to be hot. There's going to be no wind. It's going to be very dry out there. So my first round leaders are spread across both waves. But for DraftKings, we need to get 6 of 6 through the cut. If you look at Friday, it keeps moving up a little bit earlier, but from 7 a.m., at least right now, as we talk about this on a Wednesday afternoon, to around 1 p.m., pretty benign conditions. It's going to be around like 80 degrees. The max wind you're going to see is like 10, but averaging around like 5 or 6. Pretty good conditions to play some golf. From 1 o'clock till the end of the round, there could be rain starting around like 4:30, just a little bit, and they'll probably be able to play through it, but winds start picking up to an average of like 10, 12, 15, with gusts up to 25. So it does appear, if you want to do that stack, like I said, that I am doing as well, take the guys from the PM wave on Thursday and the AM wave on Friday. It's the same wave if you don't know, and just make a team of 6 of those guys. It's going to be real shitty. It works. It kind of cuts both ways. It's really shitty on Thursday when you're looking at your lines like, oh, I'm winning $0, but you haven't had anyone tee off yet, so that's a bonus. And then after round 1, you can see where you're at. Then you'll feel like a real big man on Friday morning when you have all 6 of your guys on the course and everyone else is in the clubhouse, and you'll see yourself move up all the way to the top of the leaderboards. And then everyone else starts and you fall all the way back down. But it's like a fun half hour once you see yourself up there, all in the green, winning tons of cash. Put it this way, if you're not winning a ton of cash, at least projected, after the AM wave on Friday, and you've done the PM AM stack, probably not going to be a good week for you. Just throwing that out there. And then on Saturday, there's no super forecast out for it yet, but conditions almost like all day long are kind of windy. They might soften up in the morning if there is rain overnight, that we get the kind of blowback from Friday. And there always is the concern that the rain just pushes the players off the course, or there's lightning or something like that. If there's rain and it's 90 degrees, presumably there could be lightning, that the players might actually end up off the course, have to go back out Saturday morning. We've seen a couple delays and they've been able to squeeze in the round, so I'd expect them to do that. But conditions don't just magically get better at 7 p.m. They're going to get worse. But Saturday, yeah, an average of like 16 miles per hour all day on the wind, gusts up to like 30, kind of cloudy. It's like 68, 70 degrees projected for Saturday. So that could be a day where it's a bit tougher in terms of the conditions. So if you play Showdown, if it does rain overnight, the softer conditions in the morning are probably the guys that you want to attack in that. And then on Sunday, it's kind of all over the place. It starts out pretty calm, and then you get gusts up to like 20 at midday, and then it goes back down. So that could end up favoring the leaders of whoever's going in on Sunday. Hopefully I'll be back in on Saturday evening after round 3, or at least towards the end of round 3, to talk through who the best Showdown plays are going to be. And we can do all that. Anyway, that's what I want to do, a very quickie to get you up to date on all the info, who I'm taking this week, why I'm taking them this week, and hopefully I won't lose all my money again like I did last week. That would be nice, right? Anyway, sub to the Pat Mayo Experience audio pod. Remember to download the shows that are up there. Highly do recommend, even if you don't like UFC, the Dogger Pass podcast, like Pat Mayo's football rankings are like absolute trash, but they're fun shows to watch anyway. Pat Mayo's golf picks, kind of trash. They lose, decent fun show to watch. Cody and Paul's like MMA picks, actually good. And there's a millionaire maker, and there's some pretty soft odds for UFC 251 this weekend from the island of Dr. Moreau, Mortal Kombat Island. I don't know. But there's some decent odds, and I think Cody and Paul are bound to have a good week. They've been really good every card except for one, I think, since UFC returned. So they've been really solid. They're the guys with the actual good picks and information on the Pat Mayo Experience Network up here. So sub to the show and download that one as well. Then Meanie is back Friday, Saturday for football. Like I said, we're doing it all over again. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. Check out the shows from earlier in the week with Jeff and Rick. And if you want to find my cheat sheets, the betting cheat sheet up on Twitter and Facebook, facebook.com/thepme. And what else? My DraftKings cheat sheet and article are up on DKNation.com underneath the playbook section. I'll try to provide all the links in the description if you want to do it. Good luck this week. Hopefully, someone can win $1 million. If it's not me, I hope it's one of you, okay? I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience!